Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is The Mystical Lincoln and His Mission by Alphal Wolfe, F.R.C. An article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 24, Number 1, February 1946. Mystical Lincoln and His Mission by Alphal Wolfe, F.R.C. The foundations of his character, more than any man's in history, were mystical and spiritual. Walt Whitman. As we review the facts given in various biographies on the life of Lincoln, we can find much that is of interest to the student of mysticism. The name of Abraham Lincoln is revered by the average American citizen because of the mission he fulfilled for humanity, saving our national unity and emancipating the Negro slaves. To us who are more concerned with the foundations of his mystical personality, there is much to be found that is characteristic of the mystical nature which can be traced to the source, so as to view the man as a mystic. Like that of the great mystic, Jesus Christ, Lincoln's lowly birth and tragic death are two outstanding events in a life of service for humanity. For a mystic is, first of all, a lover of humanity and devoted to a life of service in a great cause. The specialized subjects of Lincoln's education might be said to be a knowledge of the common people and their government. He believed that God loved the common people because he made so many of them. He understood their thoughts, emotions, and motives. Their emotional weaknesses often led to difficulties at critical times, but Lincoln had great patience with their egotism and false pride. His own attitude was expressed in a favorite poem, "Why should the spirit of mortal be proud?" His deep humility is one of the strong marks of mysticism in his character. It is said of Lincoln that he became the leader of the people at a time of crisis, through the supreme power of his personality. What had contributed to the power of personality is best understood as we review his early life of adversity and his hunger for knowledge. We might say that great aspirations are the source of any great personality. "I will study and prepare, for my time will come," must have been the guiding light for his seeking spirit as it grasped every opportunity for knowledge which was presented and made the most of it. His great suffering for lack of mental food was more than compensated for by the habit of entering the silence, which was considered one of his most outstanding personality traits as president. He became an original thinker as he persistently dug to the foundation of facts and rearranged and classified them in his memory for quick recall when new suggestions were presented. Nothing seemed to escape his observation and analysis as he went below the surface to the first origin and cause of facts and principles observed. His great love for truth and his terrible pursuit of error were clearly a source of worry to his legal and political opponents. What appeared to be the dreamer's attitude in Lincoln was the manifestation of this weighing, calculating, and viewing of the subject from all its angles in search for a satisfactory understanding for his acceptance. It is also said that his reason ruled all his other faculties with clearness, force, and comprehension. Commentaries. Mr. Dubois, an intimate associate of Lincoln for 25 years, found the depths of the foundations of his character and personality hard to understand. He felt that he never knew the man whom we regard as the mystic. He had this to say concerning his habit of entering the silence, a beautiful commentary. These mystical moods isolated and exalted him above his ordinary life. The unapproachable grandeur of this man was remarkable when he was in the mood of inner silence. He seemed to live by himself, yet outside of himself. Mr. Herndon, a law partner for 20 years, also pays a great tribute to him in the following. Nature had burned into him the holy fire and stamped him with her seal of greatness. With great calm of mind and serenity of soul, he viewed the whole of life's orbit with clearness of vision where others fretted over accidental happenings and minor details. If we seek the source of this inner serenity and peace, we can find it in the tenets of mysticism as revealed in his deep conviction that everything exists for a purpose in the divine order of things. It is said that he neither sought experiences nor forced issues, but calmly awaited the course of events, disposing of each in the light of intuitive understanding, with reason and judgment guiding all his decisions. He awaited with outward calm the turn of events in the most trying times of the war, trusting in the invincible providence to carry forward the great purpose. At one time, when in doubt as to the outcome of the Civil War, he said, "There is nothing left for the heart of man but to take up faith and believe where it cannot reason." At another time, he expressed himself, "I do not know anything about God being with us, but I'm fearfully interested to know if we are with God." We might say that Lincoln bore the marks of a mystic up to the time of his nomination. Then he became an occult, placing all his trust in divine providence for guidance, where he had before been relying upon the God-given powers within him to meet issues as they arose. The mission. One writer states the fact that Lincoln knew why he occupied the White House and was fully conscious of his mission long before his nomination. In his early 20s, he took a trip to New Orleans as a flatboatman. As he viewed the inhumane treatment in the slave market, he made this threat: "If ever I get a chance to hit this thing, I'll hit it hard." This seems to be the time of dedication of his life to the great purpose, while still far from knowing the means to accomplish it. As we review the course of events in his life, it might seem that Providence shaped the course of events and saved him for the great, almost miraculous achievement of delivering a race from physical bondage. Another incident touching upon his mission is the event when he attended a camp meeting in Salem, Illinois, and listened to a speech which lasted 3 hours, delivered by Dr. Akers. In this address, a forecast was given of the Civil War, which was to put an end to slavery. He gave the prophecy: "Who can tell but that the man who shall lead us through the strife may be standing in your presence?" On the return trip home, Lincoln was silent until asked for his opinion. He showed his mystical vision when he remarked on the power of the speaker, whose works were from beyond him. He also stated that he was as if in second sight during the address, and that he himself would be bearing an important part in the strife. It was reported that the following morning his features bore marks of deep suffering. He was unable to shake himself free from the conviction that he was to be involved in the terrible war which had been forecast in the address. With malice toward none. There is certainly not a single touch of ego in his second inaugural address, which is said to have been written on the spiritual heights of patriotism, a psalm for the blessing upon his country. He accepted his re-election as God's promise of victory for the cause he was soon to give the last full measure of devotion. As he looked into the future, the aftermath of war, he could see the outcome of hate, revenge, and cruel punishment that would follow in the period of Reconstruction. His message, "With malice toward none and charity for all," is closely akin to the words of the great master, "Peace on earth, goodwill to men." He urged an enlarged view of life above the petty, selfish motives of sectional feeling. The closing words of his last deliverance to the American people might read as handwriting on the wall at the present time when many are occupied with the thought of Reconstruction after World War II. He urged that the American people do all that may achieve a lasting peace among themselves and with all nations. He would have hailed with joy a possible treaty of world peace, but no compromise of right or justice would have been tolerated to obtain such peace. There may be great need for Lincoln's point of view. Put ourselves in their place. And the aftermath of this war may show the same need for his creed of malice toward none and charity for all that existed at the end of the Civil War. The final mark of the mystic is shown in the fact that Lincoln had no fear of death, although repeatedly warned as to his possible danger. He dared to do his duty to the end as he understood it. What higher tribute can be paid this great mystic than that he gave his life for a noble cause and accepted a martyr's crown just as the great master accepted his crown of thorns? We of the present generations have our attention focused upon the new freedoms which are to be ours at great cost and sacrifice. The mystics of the present have each a mission, but the foundation of mysticism in our character and personality must be built up year by year if we are to be prepared when our time and call shall come. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.